Morning, guys. I'm at Wellington Parliament with Joe. Joe's sort of part of the security, but he's sort of how would you describe yourself, Joe?
I'm more of a diffuser or a
Yeah.
diplomat, so I just go in and get them beside our own people. They call me in if there are situations that are escalating in terms of any type of confrontation, and then my job is to just go and help them find some type of resolution and to just de-escalate things, just so that we can keep the vibe.
So you've been here from the start?
Yes, I've been here from the start. I've been working part-time. I
Yeah.
work in Courtney Place
Okay.
as an administrator.
Yeah.
And I've taken a bit of leave of recent just so that I can be down here full-time. And it's really awesome. I'm enjoying it.
Fantastic, because I mean those are quite long times. So how do you keep yourself fresh and calm under the situation? Because it's I imagine it's a roller coaster.
It's part of my background. So
Yeah.
I've had 10 years working in nightclubs, but as well as working in security.
Yeah.
So I've done all types of security as well, from private protection through to COVID security, crowd control.
Okay.
And also nightclub management, security guards. But also, I've been working really hard on my communication skills.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I'm a Toastmaster, and I kind of pride myself on that. Nowadays, though, I'm more of a listener.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I've said my piece over the past 47 years. I've said enough, and now I just want to learn.
In terms of being the security, and you probably get one of the people that have a better idea about what the numbers have actually been each day. What's your take on how many people have come through the gates?
Yeah, there's quite a lot, and I wouldn't.
That's a scientific answer.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to put a figure on it, but my friend came and visited me on our biggest day.
Yeah.
I don't even know what today is, but
Yeah.
this was a while ago.
Yeah.
I think we're 1 week ago. He counts trees for a living.
Yeah.
And he gave us a method on how to count, people in the area. His estimation was, on that particular day, he said over 10,000.
Right.
That was on our heavy day.
So you always get that thing, of course, like I just did this morning, the newspaper said 300 people were only remaining. I did the quickest blanket count doing similar methodology, have no idea of knowing how many people were in the tents out having a shower, sightseeing, but I estimated it was about 650 just that I could count by walking around. So I mean you're constantly up against that sort of media trying to downplay the numbers.
Yeah, and I think they've got a purpose for doing that.
Yep.
We all realise that. And so the question then begs, why would they all of a sudden change their opinion about how New Zealanders are perceiving this protest? Because we all know now, based on the News Hub poll that was released, that there's 30% of the nation is actually backing this protest. So
I even got a bit of a shock today because I've done two non-scientific polls. So I walked up and down Newtown, and it's a different demographic. Got their view. Probably about 50% were in support. 30% were just literally had no comment and weren't that keen to talk because it wasn't part of their culture, and only 20%. I mean, there were no real haters. I've only had one person give me the fingers when I've asked them that so far. But what blew me away was that when I came down to Lambton Quay, which I thought would be a much more corporate and closer to the government heart, and I thought I'd get a much more negative response, it actually swung around. So I had probably two people that were clearly by their body language not fans, but then about another 80% were. The overall feeling was there was support for you guys, but there was a feeling that you've kind of made your point, and they were sort of saying, well, maybe it's time to move on. But the overall feeling was thumbs up, and they didn't have a problem with you being here. So what have been some of the sort of the core issues that you're dealing with in terms of sort of some of the more obstacles that you've been actually up against?
Well, I have a role here in terms of being at the protest.
Because I imagine things happen very, very quickly and passions run. So your job is constantly just bringing those passions down.
Yeah, well, as you might imagine, in any type of community, we are a mixed bunch. So we do have some people here that do have mental health issues.
Yeah.
And dealing with those types of situations does require a lot of patience.
So I guess you've also had that thing was when I first the first day I got here, I didn't come here, I just did a quick outer perimeter, and I saw a lot of characters which my background in Wellington goes back to working in restaurants for 15 years, so I knew a lot of those characters. I went, they're not protesters, you normally see them up at Manners Mall. So I imagine you've had issues that you've got people that here that aren't even necessarily part of the protest. That's part of the security issues that you've been dealing with.
It is, and it's one that needs to be had, a conversation that needs to be had with them.
Yep.
Not about the removal of of them, but just about the scope and the awareness of what's happening around them. And those are really good conversations to be engaged with them on. Of course, they don't always go fluidly, you know, according to plan, because there are some mental health issues there. So then in those instances, if there's no kind of disruption to their immediate area, I'm okay with that. Them just being here, not really part of the protest, but to just continuously make known of what's happening around them. You know, people are gathering for this reason, they've lost this. You know, lives are at stake here, people have lost lives, and just so that they know that the responsibility in upholding themselves while they're in this community is on them. You know, just put it all on them.
Have you had much response from more of our mainstream colleagues? Have they had much of them actually attempted to come down here and just do what I'm doing right now, which is walk around and get the personal, you know, are you getting that, or is that not, they're just not interested? Because most of what I've seen is TVNZ standing at the corner from 1,000 yards away or up on the balcony.
Yeah, so yesterday Stuff News just did manage to get through the barriers. And that's not a concern to me. My opinion is, I think the media, if they are here, that's all good with me. But I do have a concern for them being here, and the fact that not everybody is as reserved as I am.
Right. Because I mean,
so they did kind of take a bit of a verbal beating.
Well, I mean, you know, to a certain degree, fair enough. But I mean, I was actually, one of my jobs, I wasn't down here most of the day because I was doing interviews away from here, and I got a chance to sit down and talk with, you know, Nicky Hagan. I started saying to him, you know, I would love it if you came down here and actually walked around here, because, and he admitted, he said, like, a lot of the people here are actually fans of his already. And so I think, you know, he agreed that there's been a sort of a bit of a demonisation of the actual protesters. He wasn't necessarily so much a fan of some of the leadership issues, but as I said, he was very much, you know, it was like he agreed that the protests had been demonised.
Oh yeah, I mean, even well before this protest, you know, anything to do with anti-government. I mean, it's the same method that they use. They just demonise anything that is opposing what they're trying to, you know, enforce on us.
Hey, I'm just going to I'm trying to keep things down to little bite sizes of bites, but when you're obviously you've got the situations where things are running high, and you obviously need to keep a line of communication going with the police. You know, what's the process for that? Is there an established, you've got a direct line that you can pick up and call someone, or are you having to make things up on the spot in terms of getting those lines of communication on the other side of the barrier?
Yeah, well, there's no open phone number that I can call direct.
So they haven't come and approached you with anything like that?
The person you want to talk to in regards to that is Leighton Baker. You've already talked to him?
No, well, I know obviously because of Chantel. So, you know, where I'm coming from, just, you know, put my cards on the table. Not the biggest fan of Leighton Baker, but with Chantel, even though I don't necessarily agree with her politics, she's always been, you know, advocating a non-violent approach. So that's, for me, something I can actually work with. So, but I have been wondering about, you know, who is nominating the communication lines, and how has that been facilitated?
Yeah, according to what I understand, there's two things that everyone needs to know when they come. And you've been here already.
Sure.
For those that haven't. When you arrive, there's an information centre. On that information centre, or the billboard, they have all the latest press releases, conversations that are taking place between Leighton Baker, who's acting as an advocate, in response to police measures. Okay,
well, so far I haven't been getting those memos, just to let you know. So
I've only just come in for them.
Well, I came in yesterday, and I've been here. Honestly, I've lost count of how long I've been here. It's a bit like that. Yesterday I made sure I went in the morning and got myself all signed up on the tent, and but yeah, I haven't seen anything at this stage. Anything you want to say to New Zealand before we wrap it up?
Yeah, hi, come here. You know, come here, come down. You know, it's great fun. It's
good. That's also been quite amazing for me, is that a lot of the people I've been speaking to, I'd say overwhelmingly 95% of the people I've spoken to, including the people that approve, when I've asked them, I said, well, you know, actually, have you been down there? I've actually only met, in fact, not even 95, I only met one taxi driver from Uganda who actually came down to have a look himself. But that was what I was quite surprised. You know, this is a huge historical event. I thought there'd be a little bit more wider curiosity from the public to come down and check it out, because you're relatively a friendly bunch, aren't you?
I've had 3 of my personal friends who were very, you know, against some of the stances that I'd taken earlier on. And they decided to give me a buzz and meet me. Because they were wanting to make sure they had all their precautionary measures on. And I encouraged that too.
Yeah.
And they wanted me to escort them around
Yeah.
because they felt like if they were wearing a mask,
Yeah.
they might get attacked. And I said, fair enough, you know, like not everybody's really
Yeah.
on board with it the same way that we are. So I walked them around, but they were just ecstatic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was
anything.
going to say, like, you know, I thought the idea of maybe of an open day or something along those lines
I think
would be
that'd
a
great idea, and I think it's necessary.
Yeah.
I'm an advocate of that, and that's what I'm currently doing. You know, the role that I'm playing now, yes, it is kind of within the boundaries of the compound
Yeah.
here, but the outreach aspect of it is more important. I think we need to provide a platform that we can give
Yeah.
to some of the people who disagree with us.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're just going to be doing the same thing that the government is doing and just wrapped up in our own little bubble. Not
Yeah.
that that's happening.
No.
You know, not that that's what we want.
But you know what again was just, you know, what I was seeing was I said there's a lot of people here that are not necessarily that they've been through Labour, they've been through National, they've had a guts for the whole lot, so they're not what you would term political per se. But I said, you know, if you people would have come down that were worried about the sort of the whole thing that the left keeps on saying, well, the media, MSM keeps on about right-wing media. I'm like, if they came down here, I think they'd find that 60 to 70% of the people are not those people, but they are in danger of being pushed towards that because everyone's making this assumption and putting labels on them.
That's right, yeah.
Yep.
Everyone's making assumptions, and that's why I'm of the opinion that I think media is okay to be here. However, they do have to
Yep.
be held accountable to their past actions, but I am willing to step in as an advocate to help usher them around if needed.
Well, we'll just wrap it up, and just for your notification, for everyone else's notification, the way I film is I just do straight one-off takes. So, you know, if you fuck up now, then that goes down on your permanent record. We put that up on the YouTube before we turn it out to our private subscribers, which I promote on my radio show. But before it goes up on YouTube, which will go up either today or tomorrow, if you don't like what you see, just get in contact with me, and I'm happy to delete it if you're not happy with the content presentation.
Or you could like just grab your little keyboard and give it a nice little hug and just calm down a bit.
Oh, you've seen how I type then, have you?
No, I haven't.
Hey, nice to meet you, Joe.
Yeah, Ben, that's been fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the,